Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to League Zero's mid-season evaluation of the Novice Division. I am copying this idea from ATP Overwatch. I guess his link will be in the description. It's basically, we're going to go over each Novice team's performance so far in the season and grade it from an A+ to an F scale. I am joined today by some amazing and diverse guests, starting off with Arrow, if you want to say a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Arrow. I'm the main tank for Bot Burgers and Novice.
Okay, then we got Bob Ross.
Hello, I am Bob Ross. I am Flex for Platchat and ex-captain of Double Clap.
Nice. Designs.
Hey, I'm Designs. I guess I'm just Flex DPS player at the moment, / Flex player for Platchat.
Element Null.
What's up? I'm Element. I'm a full Flex player, currently playing support for One Trick Wonders.
Eps.
Hi, I'm Eps. I play for Rio, and I'm their Flex DPS or Zarya player.
And then Magical.
I'm Magical. I play Hitscan for Pega Parrots.
And Spartan.
Spartan. I play the shittiest hit scan for Double Clap.
That's what I like to hear. Alright, so basically how we're going to be going through this is we're going to start out with the worst team, record-wise, which is Platchat. And so week 1, they started out with a pretty close match against Pega Parrots. Now 0-3, pretty much the closest 0-3 loss that you could possibly have. And then week 2, they did fall to One Trick Wonders 3-1. Week 3, they fell to Bot Burgers 3-1. Week 4, they were able to get the upset victory over Double Cap 3-1. And then week 5, they went back to losing to Rio Redemption 1-3. And real quick, before everybody starts, we're going to get one of their players, Bob Ross, to say a few things about his team.
Well, I think right now, prior to week 4, I think Platchat was in a bit of a rough spot, going 0-3 in their current record for week 4 prior. But I think after week 4, I think we are starting to go on the up and up.
Sure.
Because we got that win against Double Clap. Can I say Double Cap? Because
You
double
just say
clap,
whatever you want, man.
Say
I'm
Double
saying
Clap.
Everyone knows what you're talking
Double
about.
Cap.
Double Cap, they were a very, very scary threat with their entire roster, but they lost a lot of their key players, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with the roster that we have, after dropping Razor, after picking up a few key additions like, who did we pick up? Jeff Shitted and Pew Pew, I think we're gonna have a really great second half of the season, and I think we can pick up a few more dubs.
So what do you have in response to the people that are saying you only beat Double Cap because they were out their main tank and arguably best player, King Genius?
I mean, if I can take it from here, if that's okay, Bob Ross. I think I can kind of
Go for it.
respond to that. So although they were also at their main tank, we also were playing with a completely new lineup, minus our key off tank as well. And Kizgo, he also wasn't playing. Then for the last map, we ended up losing our main support in Justin, so we had to play people off roles that I'd never played before. So it wasn't like we were coming to this fully prepared. Oh yeah, it's great. We had the whole team together. Both teams were lacking players at the end of the day. Happened to come down to that. I know the whole Oasis dropping out was unfortunate, and there's nothing we can do to prevent that on our end, and we just have to play through it at the end of the day. But both sides were lacking players. That's what it comes down to. It wasn't just one side.
Honestly, you guys deserve that win really hard. You guys played really hard, and on Kings, you guys did really well. On Double Cap side, we didn't play bad, but without our natural shot caller, I had to fill in, and I'm a shit shot caller. So what? But you guys played really, really fucking well that match, and I expect Platchat to go up to either a mid-class team or a high-class team.
Okay, so moving on from that, so basically looking at the staff's predictions for the league, it looks like Platchat was pretty much regarded as the third best team if you look at the predictions, and there's really no way to be frank about it. It seems like you guys have pretty much disappointed. We're going to go into the evaluations here. The lowest grade is a D minus by Element Null. If you could give some explanation to why you think they have a D minus.
So I think that Plat Chat has fallen into the bottom tier, kind of the Florida Mayhem of the league, because honestly, I haven't seen very much impressive stuff from them. I think they have not scored any 3-2s yet. Is that correct? If I look down the scoreline, yeah, they have. So Plat Chat hasn't really scored any close 3-2 matches, and they haven't really shown, I feel, any sort of significant progress against a team above them. Now, there's of course the elephant in the room of their victory over Double Cap, but I kind of treat that like a victory over Philadelphia Fusion that Florida Mayhem pulled out this season, and it's kind of like when you're in a ghost meta like we are right now, anyone can beat anyone if someone's having a bad day or on a fluke or whatever. So I need to see more of Plat Chat, and I need to see more promise from Plat Chat before I can give them anything higher than a D minus.
Makes sense to me. And then the highest grade we have for Plat Chat is their own player, maybe a little bias involved, Bob Ross giving them a C+, if you want to explain yourself a bit there.
Well, like as I said, I believe we're on the up and up, and whether the score proves it or not, but we had a really close game against Rio, and Rio's slowly climbing to be one of the best teams in the league right now. Arguably, with their new additions of Apple Expert and Chicken and all of them. So I believe we have a chance to be one of those higher up teams, like you said, and like one of those like mid tier teams. But we need that. We need to prove that in order to make that a real thing.
All right, so that will do it for our Plat Chat section. Moving on to the next higher, or the higher team, whatever, is we're going into the Bop Burgers. Bop Burgers came out week 1, not very strong, getting 4-0'd by Rio Redemption, and they're not getting much better in week 2, getting 4-0'd by Double Cap. Week 3, who'd they play? They played Plat Chat. They got their first win in week 3 versus Plat Chat 3-1, and then played the Pepega Parrots in week 4, very close 3-1 if I do say so myself. And then week 5, they were able to get the win over One Trick Wonders. And our local Bop Burgers player, Arrow, if you would like to say anything about your team before we get into the grading.
Howdy. Yeah, Bop Burgers came out of the gate, and in my opinion, they were arguably the worst team in the league, pretty badly. Like, the lack of a solid main tank, I think, was subbing in and out 3 different people with 2 main tanks and a flex DPS. Didn't really help. There was a very big lack of shot calling. Week 3, though, I think Bot Burgers instantly jumped up to a pretty decent mid-tier team with the addition of a very strong support line and a DP and Ranter, and then with getting a solid main tank who actually can lead, and myself. Before, there was not really a solid shot caller, and then I came in and I kind of cleared up comms, and then we were able to take a pretty decisive win over One Trick Wonders.
Yeah, one of the free agents that you guys picked up that's a decent friend of mine, Ranter, seemed that he made an instant impact for your team, at least against our team. Is there anything you want to speak on about Ranter real quick?
Ranter definitely, I think, was a missed pickup. I honestly think he's a top 2 flex support. I really think he can contend with you and Otta for top flex support.
I agree.
I've known Ranter from about the beginning of Pugs, and he's definitely a very good addition to this team. He really helps with just keeping everyone together.
All right, so we're going to get into our grading. Start out with the lowest grade. That's someone who hasn't talked yet. We'll start with Eps with a B-, if you would like to explain yourself a bit there.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that.
You're good.
My grade is not technically the lowest, but it seems to be Bob Burgers is on the way up. I voted them like basically a full tier above Plat Chat. I think at the beginning of the season, most of their losses were due to them not having a good roster, right, and not cohesive. But with the pickups, they're looking pretty good. But the start of the new cycle, since we're after the midpoint break, right, we'll start to see whether or not those roster moves and the practice they've been able to have is gonna propel them higher. B- because they're unproven, but it's the B because I think they have a lot of potential.
Sure. And then we do have an A as their grade coming from Magical. If you would like to speak a bit on why you decided to get Bot Burgers an A as their grade.
Yeah, so they kind of came in. They were pretty weak at the start, but the fact that they skyrocketed up so quickly, I think they are definitively the second best team in the league right now. They're kind of clapping cheeks right now. I think with the addition of some new players, it's really boosted them up. I can say that like Rancher's a good flex support, Arrow's obviously a good main tank, and Z Power Zarya really took me by surprise when we played against him. Very aggressive, always on the flank, putting out tons of damage. Really good Zarya. So I just think overall they're really solid, and I can't really see any of the other teams beating them right now, anyways.
Sure. So you kind of are overlooking the 08s to begin the season because of
Yeah,
how well they
it's
responded
kind
to
of
that.
like unlucky go next, and then they got some new players, and now like looking at them right now, I kind of just disregard the 08 because it's just uh I don't know. I think that's just kind of fluke, honestly. Like just unlucky.
Sure, and not to forget that most of the league staff had this pretty much definitively. Bob Burgers was rated as the worst team coming into the season, rated dead last by Acronator and Dividing, and second to last by Knight, and third to last by Zachary, which is pretty much definitively the last spot. So even coming in and even just being average is pretty much doing better than what their expectations were.
Yeah, for sure.
Does anybody else want to talk anything about Bob Burgers before we move on to One Trick? All right, let's move on. The next team on the tier list is One Trick Wonders, starting out the season in amazing fashion, being able to pull out the reverse sweep on double cap. Some say thanks to Silver Star's Ash, others call him a one trick, who knows. And then coming in strong against next week again against Platchat, getting the 3-1 victory. And then coming into week 3 against Papega Parrots, which was pretty much known as the Clash of the Titans. They did, however, fall to Papega Parrots 3-1. And then week 4, this started a little bit of a losing streak. They did go to map 5 again with Real Redemption and lost 3-2. And then week 5 against the newly rebranded Bob Burgers did fall 3-1. And before we get to our grades, if you would like to speak anything about your team, Element Null.
Okay, so if I had to describe our team in like 4 words, I think I would go with big aim, no brain, because that kind of represents this last half of the season where we've been kind of falling apart. Is I kind of agree that we sort of outskilled Double Cap to pull out the reverse sweep, and with Platchat, I mean Platchat was still finding their ground, and we pretty much steamrolled them since we had no like in scrims we connected basically day 1 because after drafting ended we hopped right into a scrim against some team from like ELO Hell server, and I think we stomped them like 4-0 that very day. And other than that, like we've had like for some inside info, right? We have no coaches ever since our victory against Platchat. Our coaches have gone either inactive. We started out with not Schaffler, Strider, Daffy, and Ulfgar. And Strider dropped from our team like week 2, and Daffy was pretty much always AFK. And then Ulfgar got busy with university, so he hasn't been able to coach us, and it's been a struggle, recruiting coaches, and we just simply we haven't had any coaching and any help improving our losses ever since our victory against Platchat.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So you think just lack of coaches is what led to those like 3 back-to-back losses in a row?
I think so, because we've been mostly relying on player coaching and from our own team and our manager Orbit. But I mean, no hate on Orbit really, but like he is also plat, and we can't really learn very many high tier skills from a player who's struggling at the same elo as us.
Sure.
And then this week we have started to figure out what we've been doing wrong, and we've been working on ways to get better. And I'm thinking that we'll come back to our original form in week 6.
All right. And we do have an ex-One Trick Wonders player, Arrow, if you would like to speak anything about how the team was run, if there's anything if you would like to leak anything for why you left, just pretty much anything, as much as you want to talk about.
Yeah, I got a little bit. Okay. So, truthfully, my departure from One Trick Wonders was really my own decision. Like, I was busy with school, and honestly, I essentially knocked out 90% of my finals in the 3 days I was a free agent. That's mostly the reason I left. I also kind of felt I didn't know really what it was at the time. I kind of figured out after I left what it was. I kind of sensed a tension and pretty much internal issues forming. I didn't really know what at the time, but I felt One Trick was not where I needed to stay. Pretty much, and that's really why I went into the free agency for a few days. I didn't think I could personally be the best fit for them, so I kind of decided myself to leave.
Makes sense. And what do you think about your current replacement, Werner, on that team?
I think Werner is honestly the best main tank they could have gotten at this point, since it seems like a free agent, if anyone knows him, Hanjo, has, I think, not shown any more interest in League Zeros, so I
Oh.
think Werner was the best replacement they could have gotten. He showed a very good Rhine on Rio until Apple got there and kind of took the starting role.
All right, we will move into the grades, and before we talk about this, it's pretty important to point out that One Trick Wonders came into the season pretty much graded as the de facto number one. Akronator has them 1, Dividing 2, Knight has them at 1, and then Zacharoo has them at 2. So pretty much everyone was in agreement there that they were pretty much the best team in the league. So we're coming into these grades here. I would like to hear Magical, why you gave them a D plus at the lowest score.
D minus.
Yeah.
Score.
Oh, D minus. Well.
That's Bob.
Hello.
All right, Bob.
But-
You go. Bob, it's all you, dude.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna be completely honest here. I am pessimistic, and I don't really see that much of a future for One Trick because right now they have an Ash One Trick who they're trying to play on Zarya, but isn't really performing well on that Zarya. And other than that, I don't see many bright spots in One Trick for me to give them a higher grade than a D minus. But I do see like them working well in these new DPS comps because all the new map pool is going to be really DPS heavy. So that maybe Silver Star can get that star on that Ash to no pun intended, to get that star in the Ash and really pop off. So maybe they'll be better, and I really want them to prove me wrong. So yeah, that's
Sure
kind of why I
thing.
gave it
Before we move to the, if anyone else has anything to add to bad, why they think One Trick is bad.
Yeah, if I may, from the start of the season, One Trick was rated highly, right? And I think that's mainly because of the number of coaches they had available at the start of the season, and then the individual talent they drafted. And I think they kind of suffered with what Double Cap almost suffered with at the beginning of the season, where they have a lot of good individual talent, but they're all vying for the resources in game, and there's only so much you can give a certain player. So, like the skilled players were asking for resources. Arrow is a good man tank, and he's asking for a lot of resources. Silver Star, when he came in, he asked for a lot of resources, but when they gave it to him, he popped off, right? So now that they lost some of their key players, I think they'll be able to regroup and kind of focus on what's really important, team play and not individual carrying. So I think I'm hopeful for them, but again, kind of like what Bob said, is they have to figure that out first, and we'll see whether or not that happens.
All right, and the highest grade out of all the bunch is a B from Spartan. We finally get to hear from Spartan. If you'd like to explain why you gave One Trick a B here.
AKA McCree with 10 times these.
With the B plus.
Spartan is
AFK?
AFK. Amazing. So the next highest rank after B is a C plus from Arrow. Going back to Arrow, if you'd like to talk a little bit more about that.
I think One Trick has potential, honestly. I think if they can settle Werner in nicely, and I really think if they can play DPS, since in my opinion, like, I still think One Trick is a good team. I think the loss of me and Otto did hurt, but I really think they can bounce back, and, well, you were needed a minute ago. I think
I'm
on the DPS...
sorry, that was really unfortunate.
Okay, I'll
If you want me to explain, I can in a second.
I think on the DPS comps they will excel. I'll pass it up.
Okay, Spartan, if you would like to talk.
Okay, so with One Trick Wonders, I feel like that they have mechanical talent. They need to work on coordination. And again, yeah, it's sort of that I need to carry feeling. I think that's what's going to hold them back. I think a lot of their players have that in their heart. If you guys could stop adding me, that'd be nice. I feel like a lot of them have that, and it's not going to help them. And also, yeah, coaching staff is a double-edged sword, because if your coaching staff has no idea what they're doing, they can really mess you up. And if they like try to put playtime between 12 players, it doesn't work. It doesn't.
That is true.
People get angry. People get like, because honestly, none of us are getting paid to play. We want to play.
Wait,
so none
what?
of us are okay with riding a bench.
We're not getting paid to play?
You guys aren't getting paid? What the fuck?
Yeah, I was about to say.
God damn it,
I'm getting paid.
Quack's cut us on another. Son of a bitch.
Ranter sent me a $10 over PayPal to join Bob Burger.
Wait.
And to be more serious here, I think, like, to add on what Spartan said, he reminded me, I think every person on that team wants to have their quote-unquote hero moment, where, like, they come in and try to 1v6, and or not try to, but, like, they want to have that 1v6 and just, like, pop the fuck off to, for lack of better terms, to carry their team, and I think they need to be more team coordinated.
Alright, real quick, wait, so Spartan's McCree.
Yeah, Spartan is McCree.
Okay, sorry if I'm calling you Spartan, what? Alright, so, okay.
Wait, Shopboy, if I can have one quick...
Go for it.
Another thing I think with One Trick, I really think they can bounce back, and with the whole hero moments, I'm gonna be honest, I think a lot of that was me in particular. I kind of went for those hero moments, but hey, I did get a 1v4 on Winston with a primal, so I guess I had my hero moment.
Yeah,
You know what? I'll take
sometimes,
it, Aaron. I'll take it.
sometimes you
know,
gotta
There
try.
we go.
And if nobody else has anything to add, we can move on to Rio Redemption. No one else has anything?
On the topic
Oh, go
of
for it.
hero moments, I know that I get a lot of crap for Reddit Lucying, and yeah, honestly, I probably deserve a lot of that. But that kind of hit the nail on the head. I think both internal, like with our internal coaching and self-coaching, what we've recognized in scrims this week is that our comms were never good. Like, we were winning fights and we were winning games purely off of team skill, and now we're working on that, and I think we'll be able to have it down by week 6 when we come back and face double cap.
I'm sure that's why you guys are so highly rated coming into the season, because you have so much talent on your team. You just got to work on the team coercion and working together, and you guys can easily become a top-tier team again. But moving on to Rio Redemption. Starting out the season pretty strong with a 4-0 against Bop Burgers, but then pretty much the reverse opposite happened in week 2, getting 4-0'd by the Pepega Parrots, and then going into week 3, losing to Double Cap 1-3, and then week 4, where are they? Oh, they got the 3-2 against One Trick Wonders, and then week 5, pulling out the 3-1 win against Platchat. And our resident Rio Redemptioner, Epps, if you would like to say anything about your team.
Sure. I think, I'm the type of player that thinks that if I'm going to be the best, I gotta think like I'm the best, and so I talk a lot. I hype up my team a lot. I hype up my play a lot, right? But that's just for me. I think we're definitely at the top half of the thing. Like third and second place is right around where I think we should be. Just to go through the each week though, week 1, Bob Burgers was probably the worst team, so that was an expected win. Pepega, we came in overconfident, and that loss, tied with some like poor practice the week prior, kind of grounded us. Like, okay, we actually gotta. The hype is not too real. It's kind of real, but it's not really real. So we gotta actually kind of focus up and actually practice each week. The DC match was a little unfortunate. Stanley had to get off in the middle of King's Row, and that kind of tilted us. I mean, DC played well, but we definitely were on the back foot after that. I think DC is still beatable, but we'll have to prove it this half. One Trick Wonders was a tough match, but that was the last week they had Auto and I think Arrow, right? So that was like the height of their power. Like,
Yes.
right before they like became the worst team, pretty much. So I think One Trick Wonders just was on the decline the entire time. We just got them at a good time, and then Platchat is just Platchat. they're not looking too good. they have their moments, but with the new acquisitions, I think they could pop off. They just wait and see almost. But yeah, I think we're right in the middle of the pack, towards the top a little bit, right where we should be.
Sure thing. We'll get into the grades, but before that, the preseason ranking looks like most everybody except Dividing had you pretty much at second place behind One Trick in the preseason rankings. So knowing that going into our individual gradings, the lowest score is a C from yours truly, Arrow. If you would like to speak a bit on that, why you're giving the third place team a C.
Okay. So I think Rio is not a bad team, as like I wrote some pretty detailed power rankings. I think Rio and Bob Burgers are very tied. I think the C was really just a little bit of uncertainty for me. First week, we can all be real here. Bob Burgers was hot garbage. Let's be honest. That 4-0 was good. It showed good play from Rio, but I think it's like kind of beating a dead horse. Second week, they went against Papega friends at the time. Yeah, that was, I guess, in ways close, but honestly, looking back at it, when we were doing, when I was looking over Papega Friends for the next week match, it looked like Rio was just kind of hoping for the best, and they were just charging in. DC, that was a pretty close match. I think the One Trick Wonders one, I know a lot of us weren't able to be in scrims, but I think Rio did play extremely well with their new main tank and Apple. And I think the win over Platshot really shows that this team can be dominant. I just think Rio's just kind of been like almost the London Spitfire of this season. Like they started out really strong, and then they kind of sucked for a bit, and then now they're on the incline again. But are they just going to crash down again? That's kind of what I'm thinking. But I think they really have a lot of potential to be a top team.
Sure thing. And the highest rate of anybody is a B plus, coming from Spartan, aka McCurry. If you are here and you would like to talk about that. Damn. Okay. Who haven't we heard from in a while? No. Let's get Designs. I want to hear Designs' opinion on Rio Redemption.
I mean, I think they're really a solid team. Like I put them at a B minus just because I know like they definitely gained some synergy recently through like I know Chicken, Apple, Epps, and them. They all wanted to play together, so I think that synergy is really gonna help them in the long term, and in the short term even. They just need to incorporate everyone else in. I think there are some lacking areas, so to say. Like I'm not gonna point them out for in terms of like scouting and stuff like that. But I have found like a few weaknesses. Unfortunately, like our team was like at least Platchat, we were kind of in a bit of a bad place when we ended up facing them. Unfortunately, as it was, like we were coming with some good momentum, and then we kind of mentally messed ourselves over. Obviously, we've removed some members due to toxicity, stuff like that. We're definitely on an upward trend now, so I don't know how it would fare say if we played them next week, but obviously we have to wait 5 weeks. But they are definitely an up-and-coming team. They are doing quite well in the standings. They are definitely shooting up there, and they have the potential to do really well. So I think like a B minus is just right where it's at, you know?
Sure thing. If no one else has anything to say, we can move on to the number 2 team in the league, Double Cap, Double Clap, one of the two. Anyway,
call them Double Cap, please. Double Clap.
Double Cap.
Double Cap. Double Cap.
We should be Easy Cap, to be honest. It
Easy
sounds so
Cap?
much better. Easy Cap sounds so much
So
better.
y'all are gonna start out the season good and then suck ass?
What do you... Oh, you're right.
I was referring to Easy Clap.
Yeah.
okay, so we'll go in with 3-2 record with a 4 map differential, which I haven't been doing. I'm really talking about the records, but that's fine. Coming into week 1, little stunned, getting reverse swept week 1 by One Trick Wonders. Not the great way to start out your season, but they did rebound pretty nicely week 2 against Bob Burgers, getting the 4-0, and then getting the 3-1 the next week against Rio Redemption. And however, week 4, some say it's because of King Genius not being there, but they did fall to Platchat 1-3, and then finally defeating the previously undefeated Papega Parrots in a 5-match thriller in week 5. If our resident Double Cap person would like to speak on them.
Cough always. There you go.
Oh, right. What am I talking about?
Talk about your team so far.
Okay. So, let's see. we only have one real loss. Okay, we're not gonna count flat chat. King was on
Okay.
vacation, right? And I
Well-
disconnected. I don't know if that was really earned or not, but that doesn't matter, right? We lost, we're trash. So what else is there?
If you want to talk a bit about that reverse sweep that happened week 1 and how not in a bad way, but just how you guys were able to
So-
rebound
I
from
can
it.
also I can also vouch
I'll
for
talk
this.
about
I can comment from the
a
other
couple
side.
of reasons of why we lost, right? So in the first map, we won that. That was pretty good. I wasn't there because I was taking a poop, right?
Nice.
This is true. This is true.
Second map, I'm there. We stomp because I'm a god. It says Hanamura. Hanamura is one of our best maps. That's fine. That's cool. Eichenwald. I'm pretty sure that's a really good OTW map, or we're just bad. But we didn't know what to do because basically all we did for the 2 weeks beforehand, goats, goats, goats.
That's
We
what I'm
had,
saying.
Like every team did.
yeah.
We had like
We had zero
No-
practice versus anything else. Every time we'd go
Yeah.
against anything else, we'd get stomped. But
Really?
yeah.
yes,
And then what? Fourth map?
Rialto.
Was that when I got? No, Rialto. Okay, there
That
was
was
some.
super close.
Yeah, that was really close. It came down to a couple of mistakes from me and another person. Uh, And then the last map. So our coach at the time, Quax, decided to put everyone who was in on the bench and put everyone on the bench in because he thought we were tilted. I don't think that was the play, to be honest. I think Subby and McCree for Ride Coast would have been good, but keeping that roster would be fine because Apple at the time could not play Ryan at all. I don't know if he can now, but then we specifically told him not to play Ryan, and he decided to play Ryan on the last map, and he got domed by Arrow.
This is true.
Yeah, and then we lost it because we had players who we barely scrimmed with in the game on the last map.
All right, and if just from my perspective, what how you guys were feeling after that 3-2 win against the Papega Parrots?
I was sad because I couldn't play. Everyone was happy.
Hey,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
you guys won.
It was pretty close to being another reverse sweep. Was that playing in at all? Were you guys talking about that inside your comms at all? Do you know?
We tried to have a 0-0 mentality after that first game because we never want that to happen again. But yeah.
I mean, that's
I don't
pretty
know.
good.
It was brought up a couple of times. I
What
was
if-
kind of tilted, not gonna lie. But yeah.
What if one trick gets their shit together and then week 6 they reverse sweep again? That would be the best shit ever. They get reverse-
I'm quitting League Zero, dude. If that happens,
wait,
I'm
I
betting.
I can comment a quick perspective from the reverse sweep on our side. I was about to kill myself going into the second map. I'm not gonna lie.
And
I
then
was
you ate
so
an
sad.
avocado.
I was so sad, and yeah,
You
then I
ate
went,
a salted avocado, and
I w-
everything was better.
and then we just kicked ass.
I mean, in the
Like,
words of Wolfgar, like you have the mentality of
a vegan pregnant woman.
Yeah, vegan pregnant woman.
Yep.
That's
Oh
it.
yeah, another thing was we never scrimmed Eichenwald. We only scrimmed Kings.
Really?
Yeah,
All right.
and then we
Well,
barely
it was
scrimmed Escort.
Quacks. Like, it
Yeah, it was
Quacks,
Quack,
so-
Smoke W.
Before we go into the grading section, I would like to talk to Bob Ross a little bit about if you would explain to me your decision making from leaving, because you were the captain of Double Cap, leaving Double Cap, going to Plat Chat, and just like why, or just your thought behind it.
Well, okay, so this is gonna sound a little selfish because it is. Basically, I was getting benched in favor of McCree, which in retrospect is a good idea because I'm not as good as McCree, but I'm a good player. So I decided, I don't particularly like the coaching staff, Quacks, and yeah, and I just didn't like having that feeling of just like being useless for the team, and Quacks got into my mind a little bit because he called me like a bad captain and like a subpar player, so I was like, I was kind of like down and shit, and like, so I decided, you know what, I'd be a starter on basically any other team besides like Papega or OTW at that point. So I decided I'm gonna tell Zach I want to leave, and then I'm gonna go to some other team, and pop the hell off, which I am. So
Yeah,
Can I say something?
go for it.
Okay. So shortly before we beat Papega, right? Big epic, cool. We one of our head coach at the time, Quacks, kind of just dipped, right? He's technically not off the team, but he sort of just left all our discords. Um, but we never actually dropped him.
I
But
thought
so
y'all dropped them.
no, he's still technically on our team. We never actually
technically,
dropped him. But he's on our team
So
Discord or
you're saying
anything, so it's
Quacks was
kind of
holding
whack.
double cap back. It's pretty
Yes,
much what you're
absolutely.
And then we
saying.
got Toasty as the head coach, and then we beat Papega.
who I
So,
appointed. I will point out I appointed Toasty, so that's my remaining legacy.
And
Although
now
I
he's the
think
manager.
I
Yeah,
honestly
he
think
is
we
now our
would've-
manager.
I think if Papega played like they normally did, we probably would have lost. But they weren't playing their best that day, to be honest.
Well, they didn't have all Mike. Like it can be
No,
said.
but I'm gonna be honest. I think Yam is better
No,
with dealing with
trust me.
aggression.
Trust me
From
when
what
I
I've
say this.
seen-
All
from
Mike
what
is
I've
better.
seen- From what I've seen, Yam seems better against aggro teams.
Eh.
And then we played like pussies in the second half, and then we got rolled.
All Mike just presses W and his other people die because like Shaffler Discord.
Wait,
shit.
am I allowed to say
He
that?
heals so much.
You could say whatever you want, dude.
All right.
This is not PG.
Like on the topic of like coaching staff leaving and stuff, I mean, I think that's the toughest part of like of being a novice overall is the fact that no one really wants to coach at a plat level for no pay, and
Mhm.
finding a good coach who's willing to do that is basically like finding a needle in a haystack. I mean, you got people like Toasty and Ulfgar and who's the coach for Vega?
Tedison.
Tedson, yeah, like they're all good coaches. And I mean, like I said, it's finding a needle in a haystack. And we're like after Ulfgar left, and we are not able to use his coaching. We're basically stuck, and we started a downhill climb. And I think the same thing sort of happened with Double Cap, except opposite. How they got an A+ coach, and they started to go uphill really fast.
Yeah, if I could speak for my team, and I might be wrong, but Shash, which is the manager of the Papega Parrots, did an excellent job of getting our coaching staff. Like, pretty much this day, the second that Tedison didn't get drafted for Advanced League, Shash DM'd him and asked him to be a coach for our team. And then again with our other coach, Snowman, who's pretty much been the manager of the team, also was an early pickup from Shash, and I just want to give props to Papega Parrots staff for setting us up for to succeed. And if we don't want to, if we can move on to the grades, because we still haven't talked about them, unless you want to say anything real quick.
Yeah, just real quick. I think the Parrots and double cap, I think, they're at the top right now simply just because they actually got coaching staff who knows what they're doing now.
It's true. Everyone in here is, I mean, to an extent, is similar in skill, and so far the only thing that's been a big differential from each team is just how good their coaching staff is, and you could definitely see that with the success of Double Cap and Papega Parrots.
Yeah,
and Bob Burgers too.
Yeah, Bob Burgers is making a huge comeback, but I don't mean to toot my own horn here, but I think Rio just started out with good players, and we haven't had a coach all the entire time. So I think now that we got some coaches, we can compete. But I think Double Cap is definitely looking really, really, really strong with their new coach. And they had a lot of good players at the start as well, but they kind of didn't have direction. So I think they could pop off. They're like the opposite of One Trick Wonders in my opinion.
Oh,
Sure.
That's a low blow.
We'll move into the grades because we still have yet to talk about these. So we have the lowest is from Epps. If you want to keep talking about why you gave Double Cap a B here.
Oh yeah, I think they were super inconsistent. I mean, they got results, but they were inconsistent at the beginning because Quacks being a flaky coach, right? They had good talent. They had really good scouting at the beginning. Like, I don't know how many of us here were part of the DC private pug community, I guess you could call it now.
I was there at one point.
Yeah, they basically scouted all the top players who are currently making waves in Novice. They were all invited to their pugs, so they had good scouting and good player selection. But they, again, kind of like One Trick Wonders, they had good good players, but they didn't have direction. So when they popped off, it was because of individual play. But now Double Cap, I think, is looking up because they're starting to get more direction behind their skill. So again, opposite of One Trick Wonders. One Trick Wonders on the downtrend, Double Cap on the uptrend, simply because of coaching.
Sure, and our highest rank is an A minus. If I can yoink this from you, Arrow, because I haven't really talked about any team yet. I gave this team an A minus because, first of all, looking at the preseason rankings again, they're pretty much the second to worst team behind Bot Burgers. Knight and Zachary actually had them dead last. So, first of all, exceeding those expectations greatly, and coming into the second seed's great. And this also might be because I'm a tiny bit biased because I was able to interact with some of the staff, like you said, in the private pugs they had. They have like a great management staff, and so far, with the record of 3-2, and arguably if King Genius makes that one game, they're 4-1 right now, and they were also able to take down the big dogs of the league, the Papega Parrots. So I feel like they're a very good team, and they've done pretty well for themselves right now.
Also, can I say one quick thing?
Go for it.
Okay. I think the private pugs, I think people who brag about them, little bit, what's the word? Dickheadish. Okay.
I wasn't trying to brag. I was just trying to say.
No, I get it. But I think we can all say, at least I can, the amount of people who got signed or even didn't get signed who bragged about getting invited to private pugs was immense. And like literally any public pugs, you could go in there and find 3 people talking about how they got invited to private pugs. At least whenever I went to double cap pugs, I got invited to 0 private pugs, and I felt so sad because I got shit talked quite a bit in pugs.
I was not aware of that. I was just bringing it up
Part of the culture, man.
I know. Cough, razor. I mean, what?
Again, I'm gonna talk myself up because I want to be the best. I mean, private pugs obviously is a good indication of skill, but it's not everything, right? There's gonna be outliers, obviously, right? So anyone who's invited to private pugs is deserving to kind of boast a little bit because they got invited to them, right? Yeah. But obviously, it's not the whole picture, you know?
Yeah, but people bragging about that.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Arrow, I want you to know, I have, like, when I was scouting for double cap, I had 0 idea who you are. I have never.
I know that was my plan. I just wanted one team to see me and all the rest not to see me.
Then you got drafted first overall. So
it worked too well.
It worked way too well.
Yeah. I was just bringing it up as a point to speak on the staff, but
yeah, I think everyone from double cap private pugs eventually ended up on a team. Like, not everyone was drafted initially, but mid-season, I think most of them got picked up.
Yeah, most of them. I think there's only a few stragglers that aren't on the team.
Ranter, the forsaken GC private plug boy, ended up getting picked up. So
the
anything
first
is possible. Anything is possible.
Dude, double cap pugs was when Z Power was deciding if he should be a flex DPS or a main tank.
He could not decide.
Okay, I nothing against Z, like he's a cool teammate and all, but he needs to just leave the main tank behind him. Stick with Zarya.
Real talk though, Z Power's talking so much shit, even more than I do now.
Okay.
He's like asking the scrim advanced teams because he thinks he's gonna win.
Okay.
That's where he's at right now.
I don't think you talk shit. I think you just get tilted too easy. I don't think you talk shit. I think the biggest shit talker in the league, was Kai.
Razor.
I think.
Oh,
It's
Razor.
He's not even in the league anymore.
Okay, also,
that's why I said was. That's why he said was.
Wait, really quickly about the Papega Parrots, going back.
Razor
I think
for
Papega Parrots are going to be the best team easily. I think they're going to 4-0 everyone because of one pickup. I think they've gotten the god himself, Grape Cake, and I think Papega.
Yo, real talk. I hate the flame, but Stanley and Grape, their previous on Rio, right? They warm the bench and they still talk shit. They're literally trash.
I know.
They're so fucking bad at the game. Why are they even drafted?
I like this. This is
Stanley
spicy.
plays Fortnite and complains why he wasn't getting played.
I am the better Bob Ross.
Okay.
Dude,
Okay,
wait, I'm
shit
gonna
you
say
not.
something.
Okay.
In the first game we played where we got reverse swept, we put Zentro in, Zentro stick on the last map, he was high.
He literally, lit a joint right before the match.
We're going on tangents. Let's finish.
Okay, wait,
hang
really
on.
No, we can go on tangents. It's fine.
Really
This
quickly,
isn't that formal.
I shit you not. Grapecake messaged me a few days before so-called scrim and said, "Man, I really look forward to going against you." And he was just going on about how he thinks like he's a god, he's gonna shit on me, and then literally the scrim got canceled. It was the best.
Wasn't he Rio's last pick?
Yeah, well, no.
He was a meme pick. You realize?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Damien was memeing when he picked him.
Yeah, because he was a meme for the VOD stuff. If anyone knows about that. Where
Yeah,
He
like,
was
cut
cutting VODs. He was editing VODs.
He was cutting VODs. He was cherry picking
I think
VODs.
Schaffler, Rockney was also a meme pick, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. He's definitely he got banned from Double Cap, right? Because he got
Yup.
Didn't Rockney in the middle of it say, I'm gonna quote him, so I'm saying the words, but they're not bad? Didn't he say, that fucking nit homo? Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
was homophobic and he was saying.
Yeah.
Rockney. If I could speak on Rockney, he's definitely a meme lord. He's a nice person to be around. He brings people up. I can't speak to your people, but
I love having him on our team.
I love Rockney. I think he's a great memer, but in all honesty,
he really warms the bench really nicely. If I
Yeah,
do say so myself.
but I think we gotta address one thing. The best bench warmer, I think, former bench warmer, I guess.
It's
Oh, wait.
Really quickly, can we talk about the Pichu Kizgo trade for just a quick
Sure.
minute?
That was so yikes, dude. I was like,
Yeah.
why is DC trading the best diva in the league? Like,
Sebs exists, so I don't know about the best
Yeah,
team in the
okay,
league.
okay.
But
one of our
Sebs and
strongest
Stewie are pretty
points
good
for,
now, but at the
okay.
time, dude, Kizgo I
Yeah.
thought was the best.
Kizgo was the best. Like,
Stewie and Seb stepped up though in the
Bob
Like
can-
existing noises and
Bob can probably say something about this, but wasn't Pichu literally traded just for two reasons? Number one, Oways wanted his e-girl with him, and number two, positivity.
Basically, okay, I know some insider information on this because I was still the captain. Like,
Yeah,
like,
that's-
we were
Why
talking
did
about
you
it.
ever?
I know
agree?
why. Quax told me why.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me that agreed because I left right before the trade happened, and this is all King Genius and Quacks
Oh
that
god.
that wanted this.
Oh my god.
Basically, I'm leaking shit.
Go for it. You're
I
not
like
like
it.
You're not on the
want-
team anymore.
They only
Yeah.
wanted Pichu for two reasons. One, positivity. Two, King Genius. He queued with her a lot, so they had that good synergy going on.
Okay.
Also, let me say that Quax also said, he liked Pichu's weird play style, and do I like this thing about King?
Wait,
Yes.
weird?
Guys,
Wait,
to be fair to
what do you
Pichu,
mean
she
by
does have-
weird
She
play
can make
style?
some big plays, and you can see like
She can.
especially
I
if we're going
agree
back
with
to
her.
say when Double Cat played Plot Chat on that first attack, she I think believe it was like 11 Diva bombs or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So, like, that was just in the one. It was in the first half, and then the rest of the map was kind of silent. But she can, and she does have the ability to pop off and be a good player. So like,
Let me say I had no involvement. I was against the trade.
Just
Oh my god, no.
real quick though, I think Kizgo is definitely the better diva player, but one thing that I think is kind of concerning just for as Kizgo goes is his mentality, especially
Yeah.
when he's not performing the best.
Yeah, I agree. I have to.
Yeah.
Kizgo is probably he can perform as the best diva. He can test high ground. He knows the positioning. He knows good matrix timings. He's good at pretty much everything. He's probably the best all-around diva player, at least at the time of the trade. But his mentality got super negative, especially if he failed during a scrim, if he played poorly, right? He got down in the dumps about himself. So it took some hyping up to get him back to a good level.
That was me every single game that we were losing.
Yeah, Kizgo is a great player. I think he needs to fix his mentality. I think that's the only thing holding him back at this point.
All right. So if we can move on to the Pega Parrots, and we can.
Oh god, you're still talking about
And we could wrap back around to anything you guys want to talk about after this. But to introduce our sixth and final team of the night, day, whatever you want to call it, the Pega Parrots, sitting on top of the leaderboard, 4-1 with a map differential of 10. If we want to review their season, started out with a nice 3-0 victory against Plotchat, which I played that game. It was pretty much the closest 3-0 you'll ever see. Coming into week 2, we did get the 4-0 against Rio Redemption. Week 3, a hard-fought 3-1 against One Trick Wonders. And then week 4, again, another hard-fought, almost reverse sweep, 3-1 victory against against Bop Burgers. And then week 5, finally taking our first loss to Double Cap in map 5, 2-3. And we have my teammate here, Magical, if you would like to speak some words about our team.
Yeah, so we started out strong, and I think we weren't really on a lot of people's radars as being a good team, so I think we impressed there. So I was pretty happy about that. We started out playing a lot of goats, so our teamwork was pretty good. So even when we transitioned into those DPS comps, we had pretty good communication, and overall, we just had pretty good synergy. We're all really good friends now, which is a big part of things. It's just fun to do scrims and stuff like that. As far as how the season went, I think a lot of our games were really close. I'd say, like, I know the double cap game was 3-2, but I still am gonna say that I think our hardest game was against Bot Burgers. The So the first 2 maps went pretty well, but then Eichenwald, it kind of boomed us a little bit mentally, and then coming into Rialto, I know I personally was a little bit scared, I guess. So that game was, I'd say, our hardest match so far. I don't know if that's the same thing for you, Schaffler, but I think in the double cap game, it was the first map. Like, all of the maps that we lost were really close, and then the maps that we won, we kind of dominated in. So I don't think overall the series was, I don't know. I just don't think it was as close as the Botburger game.
It's kind of argued that the game wasn't close when we lost, but I get where you're coming from.
No, like, but you know what I mean. Like, in terms of maps and stuff like that. But like, yeah. So I think going in, like, looking into the future, like, we're working on a few things, and I think we're gonna come into the next half of the season and smash everybody.
And while I have you, if you would like to speak at all on the Pepega Friends splash, you could say, in free agency, and picking up Stanley as our mental health coach, and then Grapekick as our third main tank.
Yo, Stanley's been great so far. He streams Fortnite. He's our resident Brig One Trick other than Nick. So it's been nice having him. He's pretty positive. It brings the team up. He's like Rockney in that way a lot. Grapecake, he's very good in terms of comms. He's good shot caller. Nice dude. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for both of them.
All right.
Are you shitting us, or are you real?
I'm being real. I'm being real.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I don't
Yikes,
know.
dude,
But
full
like
yikes,
before we picked them up, like, I wasn't like too in the know in terms of like why people didn't like Grape Cake, or like what was up with Stanley and why he wasn't getting playtime or anything like that. So I don't really have any background information on them. But like, from what I've seen so far, they're just both really cool dudes, and I like them both a lot.
I play with Grape on my Toker team. He's fun.
Oh no.
Wait, can we talk about Grape Cake for a second? I like how he got suspended for 2 weeks by posting a video of a
child porn. Just leave it at child porn and be done with it. Okay.
A chicken. Let's go with a chicken. A chicken.
Okay, I just want to touch one thing about those two. Is
what was your team's reaction when Grape got suspended? I'm really curious.
Just full on face palms, dude. Like, I had been DMing Grape for like a week prior to this, saying, "Hey man, just you get in trouble when you open your mouth. Just don't talk, don't type, don't do anything. Don't do anything outside of our team chat, and you won't get in trouble, right?" And then, like, the next day, he posts porn in general chat.
It happens.
With Stanley and Grape, they have the mental. They are actually just like 13 years old, and their maturity is really, really poor. Um, they're super hype and excited to play, which I think is probably the only good thing I can say about them. But when
But
it comes
Stanley
down,
won't begin playtime.
yeah, but what it came down to is one, Grape had Ramadan and school interfering, so he couldn't practice, so we didn't play him. Stanley, anytime we had practice, he was on Fortnite, and their mental
Really?
age was literally 10 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I was really on the grind, dude. I had Ramadan, I had school, and I was still coming to scrims. Absolute gamer.
See, that's the type of mentality I think is really good. Like, you have all these things, but you want to play and you're actively trying to play. Those guys just didn't care enough to improve. Like Stanley got one time to prove himself in a game, right? He fed his ass off in that match and he disconnected middle of King's Row. So I mean,
Nice.
Luck.
All
Can I
right.
just say-
what can we do?
Hold on. Can I just say that I'm the better Bob Ross?
Yes.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
100%,
Can't say that.
Dude, aren't there 3 Bob Rosses?
Yeah. Oh, there's another one in free agency.
Look at your
There's
win
Stan
rate
Evans.
versus Bob Ross's versus Stanley's win rate.
Bob,
Yeah,
what happened
well,
with the
Stanley has a
changing
0.
tabs?
No, okay, wait, no. We'll talk about that after. Can we? We're gonna move into grades here real quick, and then we can just talk about whatever the hell we want after that. So a lot of A's, but there is one standout, a B plus, coming from Bob Ross. If you'd like to
Dude, I
give your
can't believe
explanation
you don't
there.
give us a B+.
What about
I'm so mad
what
right now.
about the negative 3,000? That's
Yeah,
there?
we're not gonna talk about that one.
That's
So, okay, so without memeing, I believe the Papega Parrots. No, I'm gonna be meme on this. I know I am. I believe they're getting stale and kind of on like a small decline. Like okay, let's say you're laying on a graph, right? You're like a -5, -0.5 on like a slope. Like it's a very small decline, but after a while, it's gonna get like to the very bottom. So I believe that I believe you're just going downhill because some of the play has been sloppy. Like the first two maps of Double Cap, that was really like sloppy play,
Yeah.
and they're like that. Like from the top tier team, I don't believe that's ideal. So I don't want to put them at that high of a level.
If I could
But-
add, sorry.
No, go for it.
If I kind of agree with Bob Ross in a similar vein, just to add on, now that you're at the top, now that Pepeg is at the top, there's a couple of things that can happen. You can either continue to stay at the top, right, and keep finding ways to improve, or you can get complacent. And from the DC match, it looked like y'all got a little bit complacent. Y'all's mental game kind of stagnated, and y'all lost the drive to win. It just looked like you kind of gave up after the first 2 maps. Right? He's like, oh, we already have the win. We don't have to try hard anymore. Right?
Yeah, that's
So-
fair.
Like, you're good. You're definitely the best team right now, but now that teams are catching up and regrouping, y'all have to double down on your mentality and staying at the top, right? Y'all
Yeah,
could,
I 100% agree. I think it's just like going into the Bob Burger and the DC game, we're kind of just underestimating people. Like we need to make sure that we don't do that again. That's one of the biggest things is just don't underestimate your opponents. And now that we know that now, I think we're gonna have a better mental game coming into the next games. And I think what happened was we came out of the gates at a level that's above other teams. But I feel like we weren't really improving as much or as quickly as the other teams. The other teams caught up pretty quickly. So we just need to find like different ways to improve and other things to do, which I think the Crest partnership will certainly help with. Like all the guys at Crest have been really great so far.
All right, and we'll move on to we got 4 A pluses, 2 from me and Magical. So we'll move to McCree. I haven't heard from you in a while. If you want to talk about why you gave Papega Parrots an A plus here.
We have to add him.
I think he's with
Talk. Well, have a waste talk.
Yeah.
Oh wait, if you want to talk until we can get McCree in here.
About what? What am I talking about?
Your A plus for Papega Parrots.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they're the best.
Nice.
Thanks, always.
they literally just rolled
Solid.
everybody. The only reason they lost, they played bad. Last map, I don't know how we won that, to be honest. We had 2 off tanks in because McCree's mom wanted him to sleep, and my dad told me to get off.
But it worked out, didn't it?
It
Yeah.
worked out, I guess.
All right. I guess if I will talk a bit about our team so far. So, I mean, part of it again, like a lot of my predictions are based off of the preseason rankings, and pretty much everybody had us as a bottom 3 team except for dividing, and no one really expected us to do anywhere near good. And then coming into weeks 1 and 2 without even dropping a single map is pretty much the best way that you can start the league. And I might be a little biased here, but I mean, you guys might agree with me, but in terms of roster, I feel like we have the best Zarya in the league. In terms of magical, McCree's up there too, along with Z-Power. I'm sorry, Arrow, but I'm going to have to say that All Mike's the best tank too, main tank, because people will say that he's not, like, no one's talking about him, but he's literally beat...
There's a reason.
He's undefeated when he starts. He's beaten Werner, he's beaten Kai.
Hot take on
beating
Warner.
Kai
real
is
quick.
insane much.
Yeah, beating Kai
Wait,
is
well,
insane much.
You can
Plus,
say the
Hot-
same about King, though. King is yet to lose.
Hey, no, he's
wait,
not.
actually, he's lost to Arrow. He's lost to Arrow. Never mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
I am the only main tank who's beaten King, so
You're right, you're right.
It just kind of sucked that we didn't get to see the matchup between King Genius and All Mike. I believe that we also have very good supports with myself and Lilthy, and then Nick, the amazing in-game leader. But I mean, I don't think you could really. I mean, I guess you could give an A, but I don't really feel like anything besides an A is just with how the Bigger Parrots have been this season.
Double Cap has,
I apologize, Smile.
Double Cap has the best brig in the league. Smile.
we could talk all day about who has the best players and stuff.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
just wanted to toot
proven
their
right
horn.
now that Pepega Parrots has the best cohesiveness
Yeah.
out of
Oh
every.
yeah, absolutely.
Like whether or not they have the best players, that's literally can't be proven because
That's true.
everyone's going to say they're the best player, right? But as it stands, Pepega Parrots have proven that they're the best cohesive roster, and that just makes their players better overall, right? They have good coaching, they have good cohesiveness. They're just going to play better. Period. Like it enables them to play well, right? If you have the best DPS on one team, they're not going to perform well if their team can't like support them properly, right?
Well,
If they don't do their jobs, they're not going to enable their teammates to play well.
like in OD, I'm pretty sure a team of like plat gold players didn't they like demolish
Yeah, a GM team.
a GM team? Yeah, because of their team
Yeah.
structure. Like
Also,
if you have
the
a
Ash pop the fuck off. That's
yeah,
all.
if you have the team cohesion and that team like synergy, you can beat anyone. And whether it be like all bronzes, they have a strong chance that they have a lot of team, you know,
Sure.
OMG.
team synergy. There you go. That's the word.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up for the evaluations and grades, but I'm going to go through, and I'm going to ask all you guys if there's anything you want to add or any more topics you want to talk about, because just get it all out on the table so we don't miss anything. If anything you want to talk about, Arrow, before we end this? It could be anything big, small.
I don't know. Fuck.
You just say nothing, it's fine.
Bunker. That's gonna be fun.
No.
Ugh.
No, stop.
That's gonna be fun.
I am the best Baptiste in the league. I will say that much.
False. I'm going to challenge you on that.
Fucking die.
No, I will 100% challenge you on that, Mr. Knoll. I believe my Baptiste will pop the fuck off, and I will be
Yeah.
the best.
Just
Yes, but have you been coached?
We're probably gonna
Mr.
lose to
DPS.
OTW for a very simple reason.
Which is what?
Always Zarya, Monka W.
Oof.
Okay. Euro Zarya is not that bad. It's just
You're
you're
washed.
used to holding left click. Like
Can
you're
McCree
great.
can McCree not make the game, or?
Yeah, he has to do
Damn.
finals.
All right, moving on to Bob Ross. Is there anything you'd like to add or any more topics you'd like to talk about?
I'm pretty sure everything I wanted to talk about has been talked about. And okay, before we wrap this up, if anyone's still watching this, I'm sorry for being so pessimistic. It's just my personality.
Sure thing. Designs? Anything you want to add or any more topics you'd like to talk about?
I think we basically covered it all. I mean, yeah. I'm good.
All right, Elemental.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of hop off this bunker point here. I'm gonna get one thing clear out of the way. All right, caster. There is no such legendary Pokemon called Null. I am not named after a legendary Pokemon named.
Actually, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Type
So
Null
Molly.
is not a legendary or even
Yes.
a pseudo legendary.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
There's
not.
only-
It's a specific event, like not an event.
There,
but
there,
it's a
there's
special-
only. Okay,
Anyway.
then what would you call? What would you call Celebi? What would you call Celebi then? That's a, that's a
legendary.
special event.
It's,
Then
no,
what would
not,
you
not
call
event.
Type Null?
Anyway, no. So I think the next meta for this season honestly isn't going to change much because what we've been playing is goats. What we've been practicing is goats, like everyone in the league, and
That's
yeah,
what you
it's
may have been.
boring.
That's
and
what you might.
That's
Yeah.
what you may have been
That's what you
practicing. I don't know about that one.
We're pulling out 1 Reinhardt, 5 supports.
I don't know, dude. Have you heard of Hotes? 3 healers and 3 more healers. It's kind of nasty.
Have you ever heard of Wormies?
But
Oh my
honestly,
God, Wormies! I
like,
forgot.
really, like, yeah, we're gonna see a ton of bunker and pirate ship on Junkertown, but the real thing I want to talk about right now is like Helios, because in scrims I've seen everything from goats to boop comps to just general sit a torb on point
Dude,
behind
I've
Terrorist
seen-
shield, and
We're gonna do 4 tanks on well. We're
Alright,
gonna get
let's
Oh,
just
wait,
fucked.
are you gonna
let's go down the list, right,
the
like-
double cap comp? When we pull it against Flat Chat?
Yeah.
All right, just to keep this moving, Epps, anything you'd like to add or new topics you want to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to kind of touch on roster moves teams
Sure,
made,
that's a good
and
idea.
Which teams I think did better in that regard overall.
That's a really
I
good
think-
idea. We could talk about free agency a bit here if you want to.
Yeah, so just in a team cohesive sense, I think Botburgers and I think Rio came out the best in terms of their trades and pickups. Botburgers needed a new support line. They had like gold and silver players and maybe a bronze as their support
Yeah.
line at the start of the
Yeah,
season.
They had a bronze. We still do.
They picked up Ranter and Adafi, however you pronounce his name. That's
I
how
think
I
it's
thought.
Adafi, something.
Adafi.
Well,
Adafi.
regardless, they made a move that they thought they needed, and it's working out really well for them. I think Rio, just from our trades, I think we dropped Warner and we picked up a DPS and Chicken and we picked up a new tank. And
Well,
we
you
picked up...
traded Werner. You didn't drop him, right?
Yeah, we wanted Otta and we traded Warner for Otta. So I think we made our team comp our team more flexible, and
How's
it's
Autumn? Sorry.
it's gonna work really well for the rest of the season. I think DC might have lost out since they dropped we traded so many people for their players. We got Chicken and Apple, which I think Apple's a better main tank than King Genius. Just hot take. That's my personal opinion. But it's just my opinion,
I'm
right?
like,
Chicken is nuts.
I
Gonna say it.
Chicken is really good.
Chicken is nuts.
Chicken's
He
really
is.
good.
He holds
I
a really
think-
good left click.
I think we made the changes that work really well for our team. Whether or not y'all think they're good overall, for our team it works.
No, I
I think you
agree.
guys made really good changes. I just don't think
Especially, you can go Weiss.
Alright, we didn't really lose much because we weren't gonna use them anyways. So
Well,
Which
okay.
I think was part of the problem though. Y'all
Yeah.
weren't going to use some good players.
yeah, which is why
Well,
we
okay.
just let them have other people.
Well,
I
okay,
still-
Waze.
I still think Bot
Bob was
Burgers.
cool. Bob was massive.
I still think Bot Burgers got the best turnaround though with the pickups. Like they
Amen.
they just turned around 0 to 8 to like if they had stayed with that same roster, I don't think it's too much debatable that Bot Burgers could have gone 0 and 5 and -20. Like if they had just continued with the same bullshit, but they turned it around to a 2 and 3 -6, which is fucking pain to turn around.
You know, I think
They
the
left
best
us so much
player is
work.
Sloth, dude. Sloth is an absolute legend.
He is.
What a
is.
Chad.
He's a
And
legend.
if I can speak real quick on the auto trade and just the supports in general. Out of all the supports in the league, the only Auto I would say is probably the best out of
Oh,
pretty much
absolutely. I
everybody.
agree.
Auto's
Yeah.
probably the best, and then the pickup of Ranter was mind-boggling to me how he didn't get drafted. I was trying to argue, kind of trying to egg my staff on to pick him up because we don't really have too many supports on our team. I was gonna talk to Shash about picking him up, but Bob Burgers beat us to it, and I think those supports they can carry with behind the scenes a lot, and I think those are really good pickups from both teams.
Yeah,
You know,
Otta can carry
I
when he's not
actually
off the
think-
fucking map.
That Adifi is better than Otta. I mean, like, they're not playing the same
Adifi's
role,
really good too. That's
but
what I
think,
heard.
Like, Adifi has been the first support that I was scared to play against, like, as a Lucio. Because he basically managed to out-Reddit me on King's Row. I mean, if you guys watched the match between us and Bot Burgers, the casters were all talking about how, like, it was 8 or 9 boot kills on King's Row between me and him, and I think 2 of those were me, and the other 6 were him.
Yeah, he got a player of the match for his team, I believe, right,
Yeah,
Arrow?
he did. Yep.
Yeah, so all good news coming from there.
I will say, I believe Ada is like super underrated because a lot of times on One Trick Wonders, he was just benched, and I'm not kind of.
No, he wasn't. He was
No,
always starting.
no.
No, he was never benched.
No, he was benched. What's it called? The
He
game.
was
Dempsey.
swapped,
Benched for
he
like
was
a
swapped
map.
for
He was
Dempsey
getting
for like
benched.
certain maps, but
Okay.
like most of the time Otta was starting.
Only reason Otta ever got benched was like fucking probably Tilt is my guess, since like I talked to Otta a bit after the match. Like, I'm gonna be real, I think King's Row would have gone drastically different if Otta was in that Bot Burgers vs OTW game. No offense to Master Dempsey, he just does not look that strong on the flex support. Also, he plays on a literal toaster.
That seems fun.
Well, I think Adafi is stronger than Ranter. I think the real pickup was Adafi. Ranter is just above average support player. I don't think he's anything special, but he's definitely not bad.
In my opinion, Rancher has the best Ana in the league, and that's not really biased. Like, he has shown a really powerful Ana, and like Schaffler and Ana, your Anas have looked good, but I think Ranter, like, okay, I'm essentially a retarded bumper, like, and he somehow keeps me up. So, you know,
That's
like,
true.
that's
Bot Burgers has really good Ana goats. We haven't really had
Yeah.
practice on Ana goats too much. We just run the Zen goats. But yeah, your Ana goats is something to be reckoned with.
A good diva will shut down on a goat,
Have they
so I'm
run
interested to
anything-
see how Bob Burgers plays versus Rio and Pepega.
That's gonna be an amazing match, in all honesty.
I think that like if you can abuse the weaknesses of Goats, you win that matchup pretty much every time. That's why Zen Goats is stronger.
Just press W.
If we're speaking on good Anas, I think another underrated Ana is Gumsauce, because
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Gumsauce has, okay, I'm saying bias here because I'm the one that wanted him. Gumsauce has a really nutty Ana, and as does another player on Double Cap, Charm. Charm has a really, really, really good Ana, but he's stuck in Brick Jail, Pippa Hands.
Gumsauce, I honestly
did
think
we
is
already
probably
talk
I think he's the most improved player. If I was gonna say, I think over the season has gone so far, I think Gumsauce has improved the best, since I think week 1 he was probably the second worst flex support in my opinion, and now I think Gumsauce is a quite good flex support. His position was pretty bad from what I saw, but I think he honestly has turned around his individual season the most out of anyone I've seen.
I think Apple would be second most improved.
Yeah,
Apple's gotten
yeah.
so much better.
Apple too, yeah.
Apple didn't improve. He was always this good. Y'all just never played him.
Don't blame.
You know
Don't blame
about that
staff.
one.
Blame
Jeez.
staff. Lol.
His
I
Ryan was
love-
atrocious.
I love Apple,
Okay, so
yeah,
Apple's
but-
Ryan isn't the best, but he's good at everything else. His
Yeah, hey-
ball is good. His monkey's good. His arrest is
Okay,
good.
we're gonna leak some stuff. At least me.
Yes.
We drafted King to be a Ryan One Trick,
Yep.
and we drafted Apple to be our dive expert, which is Ball Winston.
Yeah.
Which is Ball is nuts, and his Winston is so much better than his Reinhardt. And I just think if who's got now, Rio? Yeah, Rio.
Yep.
I think if Rio can capitalize on him specializing in those
One trick
like-
floats.
yeah, it's One Trick floats forehead.
But they
I
don't have a Ryan player besides Apple.
That's why he floats.
That's why
Yeah,
he
that's why he
floats. Yeah.
We have a backup main tank. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean-
amazing. It's apps, but obviously that's
It's not me, but
The fuck?
Yeah, dude, they're picking up grape again.
no,
Oh, no.
no, please God, no.
I mean,
We have
Gumsauce.
We have a Ryan back.
Gumsauce is in the voice chat. I don't know if you want to talk of it, Gumsauce, because we were kind of just talking about you, like you weren't
Gumsauce-
here.
You can.
He's
Oh,
at
we
work.
can't?
He's at work.
Okay,
at
I'm
work.
sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I think McKee's
So
here now, though.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
McCree's
and
here.
speaking of leaks, how many Bob Rosses are in the league right now? Like 2?
there's
Is there
three. One's in
Three.
free agency.
Yeah, there's
Wait,
about
wait.
there is almost gonna be 3 Bob Rosses on rosters.
That's
One
But
fine.
I'm clearly the best though, so.
One question to Schaffler and Magical. Who the fuck is starting on main tank now? Y'all got Yam, Mike, and Grape Cake. Like, who
Me.
y'all... Like,
Pog,
if you-
Pog.
okay, All Mike is your best main tank. Like, please tell me Grape Cake's gonna be a meme pick. Like, please
I'm
tell me.
starting main tank in our team now.
Yo,
I-
honestly, put fucking Nick on main tank. Like, I don't
Oh
know.
god, dude.
How much of a yikes does it have? Like,
He'll be 20 feet in front of the team.
I know.
That's what Ryan's do,
I
man.
mean, he already does that anyways, right?
Yeah, but he's Briggs,
Yeah,
so I mean, he just do it with Ryan, and you have more HP, so you just win.
How much of a yikes do you have to be to go from a bench player to a backup mental health coach?
Bruh.
Oh, well, he
Legitimately
upgraded.
on our roster.
To Stanley?
Oh, no, we're talking about
No.
Grape Cake.
No,
Oh.
he was talking about Stanley.
I was talking about Stanley, but
Oh.
Grape Cake never played on Rio. He has no awareness of his team. He just holds W. That's all he does.
That's
He
what
calls
I'm
what he's
saying.
doing,
Maybe
but
you didn't
if his
give him a
team-
chance to. Maybe you didn't.
No,
give him
we tried, dude. We tried. On the
Yeah,
days
but
that
for
he
how
could play,
long?
we tried. And this is at the beginning of the season before Ramadan got into like high gear. Like the days he could play, we played him, right? He was super aggressive, and if we could support him, it was fine. But the moment something went wrong in a team fight,
Yeah.
he was just off on his own doing God knows what, and not like had zero awareness what his team was actually doing.
Ryan
I don't know.
in this meta is so team dependent. Like from a 350-hour Ryan one trick, essentially, it feels horrible to play Ryan unless you have a good team. Really, like yeah, if you're a god at Ryan, like well, of course, an Overwatch League player, you can 1v6. But for all of us non-god tier Ryans, literally, yeah, the 1v6 is always possible. I've done it. A lot of pretty much every Ryan main I think has been able to pull off an amazing play. But if you don't have a good team behind you, Ryan is the worst main tank in my opinion in this current meta if you don't have a good team. Like I'd rather play Orisa, and I hate playing Orisa.
That's why I don't play main tank. You get like boops, stunned,
You get so
everything.
much
You're not allowed to play the game, dude. You just get
Yeah.
frozen,
Okay.
stunned, boop, tacked. You're just done, dude.
I equate playing Ryan to being like a preschool teacher. You're just trying to corral the idiots on your team. Like literally, and you just take shit from everyone. It's horrible, but it's fun. 'Cause, like,
All right.
why-
To keep this moving along, do we have anything in free agency that we want to talk about? Anything else that we
Yes.
missed? All right, go for it.
I heard someone tried to pick up Triggered.
Oh boy.
Why is
Oh,
it?
one
We,
bad.
Rio's been scrimming with him a little bit, but we have 5 supports on our
I know.
roster right now, so
Like, he has like the mental of a potato, dude.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Throwing shade.
He also has a potato mic, which is kind of annoying to be around.
Yeah.
When I was
Isn't he
listening in on
also-
comms,
Wait, isn't he
Triggered's
also,
not
like,
bad,
12?
but
Triggered's
Isn't he,
pretty.
like,
Yeah,
12?
I
Isn't
have
he,
no
like,
clue.
Trigger gets triggered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hence
Yeah.
the name triggered. Besides that, I think if we want to move past this free agency talk and see if Magical yourself if you want to talk
Oh,
about anything else.
I just like to give a shout out to Ted, Zim, Shash, GH, and Snowman, just for incredible coaching staff, and then obviously all of our analysts and that. Yeah, they're the reason that we started so strong, and we're gonna keep improving.
Nice and wholesome there.
but
All
they
right.
really
Come
do
on,
deserve
man.
it though.
They
They really
do, yeah. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with them. It's
Come
just
on, man.
nice.
Leave some coaches to the rest of us first.
They also hoarded up all
We're
of
I mean,
the
yeah.
staff.
I don't know whose big brain idea it was because basically we just started out playing nothing but goats, which I know you guys did too, but just to build the synergy. I'm just assuming it was Ted's idea, but I really don't know. But that
Yeah, it was.
a huge brain idea, just because we were so synergized before week 1 even started.
Also,
Anyways.
for some reason, we just had synergy to start with. Like, just coming into our first scrim, we...
Yeah, our personalities meshed pretty well. We didn't have any big toxic guy in our team, which was obviously
Except
very
for Nick.
helpful. Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I
that's
heard
fine.
Nick like
Nick
I
is
heard-
great, dude.
I heard Nick and All-Mic like rage quit a scrim or two. Is that true? I heard they get.
No.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
you want there to be drama with the Pacific Parrots, but there is
nobody's
none.
ever done something dumb in a scrim.
Okay, that's what I heard. I have to go ask some.
Who'd you hear it from? I'm gonna go beat him up.
Some Bot Burgers players.
Oh.
No, Nick doesn't rage. He just trash talks, and it's kind of funny.
Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe that
Hey,
was it.
Nick, you're the number 2.
I think we can all decide
Number
that
two
Always
break?
is the best break.
Number two
Like,
bot.
I think Always is the best break. Not even.
I don't know. I kind of outperformed them game 1, week
What
1.
do you
Miles.
mean, dude? You
You were
missed like,
taking a shit.
you missed like 12 whip shots, dude. I don't know, man. Your whip shot
You-
aim kind of.
You were taking a shit, my guy.
Yeah, and I would have done more than you. Okay, that's not
Yo,
Alright,
you can tell a good brig player by how much they can shut down the enemy Lucio and Reinhardt when they try to get aggressive. Like, if they're using the shield bash and whip correctly, their Ryan never gets like pushed and displaced. Like, I mean, not never, but like they can remain at the front of the team.
Dude,
A lot of brigs.
If their run goes on your run, you press shift, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times,
That's like all you do.
brigs just want to hold W and do swing, swing, swing. Well, like you really just gotta protect your Reinhardt and create like deny space so they can't push past the shield. You whip shot the Lucio if you can, and then the first person to walk into Ryan's shield gets bashed, right? And then you just burn that kid, right?
Why are you leaking the strats, dude?
No, but that's just how you play brig. That's how you're supposed to.
We're not supposed to help people.
I don't know what other people's comms looks like, but Nick really carries in comms. Like, absolutely.
Is he your IGL? Does he feel that?
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Alright.
Okay, so how do we?
Most
how
of
do
it
we
is
stop
just
Nick?
like screaming, which is kind of nice. It kind of just makes us laugh, and then we're positive in game, and then we
Nice,
kind of just
nice.
smash into the enemy team.
To round this out, the last person, Always, if there's anything in the whole entire world that you'd like to talk about or an idea, now's your time.
Keep it related
Alright.
to 0.
So
Yeah, of course.
I heard people talking about like a relegation system where like the worst advanced team falls into novice, the best novice can go into advanced. That wouldn't work.
I don't know about that.
Not at all.
That's
That,
stuffed. That's
yeah,
so
novice would get rolled every time.
Dude, we get smashed in advance.
Also,
Yeah.
isn't there going to be like a 3rd division now? Like,
Is there for like the diamond?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard there's gonna be like diamond plats and then plat lower or something, right?
There should be a
I thought it was,
bronze.
like,
Well, that makes
bronze,
sense because
gold,
diamonds just don't have a chance in advanced for the most part.
There's
Wait,
there's
isn't
no
most of
difference.
Bark diamond though?
Yeah, but
No.
Mark's like.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, 'cause there's much more of a difference between a diamond and a masters player than there is a plat and a diamond player.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that split right there is too
Yeah.
big for any diamond players to have a chance of making it in the league.
Anyway, we talked about what we wanted to talk about, so to make sure this thing doesn't go too long, we are going
This has
to
been going on for an hour and a half.
Omega lol.
we're gonna round it
Podcast.
off here. Just want to give a quick shout out to the League Zero staff first of all for creating an amazing league, a nice experience, and
Agri's cool.
Acronator.
Acronator
I like
dividing.
Shund is my dad.
Shund.
I've never talked to Shund in my life.
I don't
Shund
even
is the
know who the
coolest
fuck
guy.
that is.
Shund is my father.
Agreed is cool.
Agreed is even on the staff. What?
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about cool people.
Okay.
Rectum
Oh.
is cool.
So basically, this was our scuffed video of the first or the mid-season review, mid-season evaluation, whatever you want to call it, of League Zero Novice. I want to say thank you for watching and
Quick last meme: Silver
Wait,
Star
wait,
for
wait.
advanced.
Silver
Wait, one-
lol.
Silver Star
Are you
for
kidding me?
advanced!
This is,
One
this is
quick
called
thing, one
mid-
quick
One quick thing. All right.
anal.
We've all been doing anal for 90 minutes.
like
Let's do anal.
Let's go!
Thanks for watching.
Like, anal.
What a workout.